The police helicopter was again deployed this morning to send a direct message to revellers.
They're also using it to broadcast loudspeaker messages, informing them that they are at an illegal party and they should be moved off as soon as possible.
Roadblocks on all surrounding roads have remained in force since they were mounted on Friday night. But lorries loaded with sound equipment had already made it onto the airfield. The police had feared tens of thousands of revellers who'd failed to gate-crash the Glastonbury Festival could be on their way. Many had abandoned their vehicles beyond the roadblocks and enjoyed the challenge of getting in.
We went through the cornfields last night because obviously we knew police were here. Yeah. So we had to like duck through the cornfields and like go under the whole, I don't know, we were just like kind of ducking around. It was really cool.
But, you know, they seem to be kind of securing the area for some reason. It's no, I don't think anybody's any danger to anybody. They're just having a party.
Residents have questioned the police road-blocking tactics, but with such an open area of land, any operation to stop the partygoers was difficult.
They didn't keep to the roads, they walked across. Private property, invaded the privacy of a lot of people. They caused damages to fences, things like that. But as far as being asked whether I would make a different decision, I think I would decline that one because it was impossible.
The police operation has cost tens of thousands of pounds. They're hoping all will have left the site this evening so the landowner can assess the cost of cleaning up after the illegal party. Richard Lawrence for West Country News.
And Richard joins us live now from the site. So, Richard, what's the latest? Have they virtually all gone now?
Virtually all gone, yes. We're down to the final 12 vehicles here. The police are keeping watch over the gate to the airfield. This is the end of the runway where the final vehicles are expected to depart any time in the next hour. If any can't make it, I understand they will be allowed to leave in the morning. There have been 18 arrests over the weekend, over the 3 days. A few of those made today. The offences vary from public order offences to suspicion of theft of vehicle tax discs, something the police are looking out for as they make quick spot checks on the vehicle as they leave, to possession of drugs. But otherwise, the police say it's been relatively trouble-free.
OK, Richard, thanks very much indeed.
Some of those attending say the policing was excessive, but local people say they've been threatened and intimidated. Philip Loach reports.
A steady trickle of people has been leaving the disused airfield since early morning. It's thought a little over 100 remain on the site just outside the village of Smeatharpe near Honiton. On Saturday, as Spotlight were talking to local resident Kathy Hillman, a van was driven at high speed towards our cameraman, reporter and Mrs. Hillman. This morning, Kathy Hillman had another shock as she was driving to work.
When I got out of my car and closed the door, I saw two guys, one of whom was holding what looked like a butcher's knife, I can only describe it as that, came towards me and just said to me, "You weren't scared on television, are you scared now?" I didn't say a thing. I was absolutely terrified.
The illegal party began on Friday. The airfield is private property, and the police have powers to remove people under laws introduced in the 1990s designed to outlaw similar large gatherings. Police officers in a helicopter have been using loudspeakers to tell the partygoers that they're trespassing.
At the moment, it seems to be quite peaceful. As I say, the event has come to its own natural conclusion, and we're just continuing to watch it from afar.
There's a significant police presence around the village. Around 150 police officers have been brought in. There are still roadblocks on the main roads leading into Smeatharpe. Those who are leaving the airfield are being told they won't be allowed back onto the site. The police say they will remain here until everyone leaves the airfield. The investigations into the incidents involving Mrs. Hillman are continuing.
Well, this morning I spoke to the new Chief Constable of Devon and Cornwall Police, Maria Wallace, who took over the role today. As well as talking about the ongoing situation at Smeatharpe, I asked her what her main priorities were for the force. Priority, of course, must be to deal with the situation which has developed over the weekend at Smeatharpe. Are you happy, from what you know from the briefings you've had today, of how the force has handled that situation over the weekend?
I can't go into the detailed intelligence and the specific tactics that we had. Suffice to say, these people arrived at 3 o'clock in the morning in an area where we did not know they were coming. It was an illegal gathering, and I believe we have dealt with it properly since then.
So there were, of course, incidents of violence at this illegal rave over the weekend. Was that justification to go in and break it up? Because as I understand it, the force does have the power to do that. So why didn't officers simply go in and disperse the crowds?
My understanding is that there have been a number of minor events. We have put officers on patrol inside the site. It was important that we contained it and ensured that thousands of people did not join the few that are there. And I'm satisfied that it's been the right tactics to date.
Some would argue, though, that this surely could have been prevented in the first place. Now, if we're talking about 1,000 people or more gathering at the same place at the same time, one would suggest that then it was organised. Did you not have any intelligence that this was going to happen? After all, we knew very well that security was extra tight at Glastonbury, and lots of people were bound to be sent away from there and were looking elsewhere.
I can't go into the detailed intelligence and the specific tactics that we had. Suffice to say, these people arrived at 3 o'clock in the morning in an area where we did not know they were coming. It was an illegal gathering, and I believe we have dealt with it properly since then.
So there was no intelligence information beforehand to suggest that Smeatharpe was going to be the place they would gather?
That is my understanding.
How are you going to contain the situation now? You said you hope to have it dealt with in the next 2 or 3 days. How is the force planning to do that?
Well, I'm sure you'll understand that I don't want to go into the detail of the tactics. Suffice to say, we will continue working with the local population to ensure that they feel safe. We need to ensure the staff feel safe as well. And working together with the other agencies, providing a service, preventing other people joining them, to ensure that those that leave quietly and safely as they are doing now, and ensure that when it is finished, which as I say I hope will be in the very near future, that we can have a debriefing to learn from this situation.
Well, we can go live now to Smeatharpe in East Devon, where around 1,000 people gathered for the rave. Our reporter there is Philip Lote. So what's the latest there, Phil?
Well, a few minutes ago, about 20 police officers have gone onto the site. It seems there are about 20 vehicles still left there. As we've heard, initially there were probably about 1,000 people, so now 20 vehicles left on the site. And we understand that these police officers are talking to those who remain, and as we've heard, it's very much a softly approach here, reminding them that they are on illegal property, wanting to find out when they're intending to leave the site, but not becoming outwardly aggressive and demanding that they leave immediately. As we've seen over the last few hours and during the day, people have been leaving the site in dribs and drabs, and later this afternoon in greater numbers. And I've spoken to a few of them. One of them said to me that they've been having a good time. They've come from all over the country to listen to music. He recognised that they were on an illegal, they were on the site illegally, but they had nowhere else to go. And I spoke to someone else who said that he recognised the police had a job to do, but he felt that they'd been over the top, that he and his friends there hadn't been causing any trouble and had been fairly self-contained. So I think there's obviously a mix of views. Those who've been there feel that they've been there quite properly, haven't caused anyone any problems. But of course those who live here have been very concerned about their property, possible damage to their property, and of course the noise which has been going on.
Phil, thank you very much.